Hello Stardust, I'm Soda. Welcome back to my channel where I review fragrance, makeup, and luxury product. On today's video, we're concentrating on the luxury product part. China and China manufacturing has been exposing luxury brands. All the big household names, you name it, Hermes, Dior, Cartier, Versace, Prada, Gucci, everybody. Nobody was left unharmed. I was actually waiting for a while to see if any of the brands are gonna come forward, and only brand that they did was Lululemon, claiming that it's not true. But other than that, the rest of the bigger luxury brands have been real silent. Let's get this video started. I'm a little bit late to this party. It's because I've been waiting on some sort of disclaimer from the luxury brand side, but nothing. The only official platform that kind of addressed the issue, but not really, they said bunch of nothing, was BBC.
Do luxury brands make their products in China? These videos are being shared on TikTok with claims about European designer goods. But is what they're saying true? For something to be labelled made in Europe, it has to go through its last substantial transformation there. That means simply adding a logo or packaging a product in Europe doesn't count, according to experts, even though some production may happen in places like China. Many luxury brands don't share much information about their manufacturing outside Europe.
Quite a lot of what other brands claim, that 95% of their facilities are in Italy. That is only true indeed for the very last stage of production.
Louis Vuitton's website, for example, says its leather goods are exclusively produced in our workshops in Europe and the US. And Gucci says 95% of their manufacturers are based in Italy.
As can be seen, I'm not new to luxury. I buy these items and now China is exposing them and saying that most of the items are being produced in China and only being built and put together in European countries, and is being claimed to be made in France, made in Italy. All my designer items that I own have literally stamp emblem on the item, on my bags. All of them say made in Italy, made in France. But what is China is saying is that's not true. Everything is actually made in China, shipped over to Italy or France, and they just put together, put in the labeling, put in the packaging, and they're being sold to customers that think that the whole thing was made in France or Italy from beginning till the end. If you actually think about it, I haven't really heard or seen any proper manufacturing place for these brands. So what's happening right now, actually, US have imposed crazy tariffs on China. We have 245% increase in tariff overall. These tariffs vary in sector. The main sectors that actually got affected really badly by the tariffs are actually semiconductors, vehicle sector, and also pharmaceutical sector. But today we are concentrating on goods that's coming from China. Goods that are coming to US from China have been imposed to 20% tariff. Before it used to be 10%. So that's a 100% increase in tariffs when it comes to goods from China. Other than that, the standard duty fee has been increased to 37.5% when before it used to be 17.5%. Additionally, before US had duty-free for any items below 800 USD, and now that's also being taken away. I'm not even talking about other tariffs. Tariffs on electronic vehicles went up from 25% to 100%. This tariff war is actually crazy. And you know what China said? China said, we don't care.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived.
So all these manufacturers are being affected by this tariff, and what they decided to do is basically take out all the curtains, and they're coming out. They want to be direct with the consumers. They want consumers to buy directly from them. So basically, they're cutting out the middlemen. They're saying just come straight to us. All of this is going down mainly on TikTok. There's so many manufacturers that are coming forward and basically exposing all these luxury brands. Some of these people that are exposing these luxury brands include Jojo, she's exposing Cartier, Luna, she's exposing everybody and their mamas, you name it. And last but not least, Rosie, she's dropping all the links. I have compiled all of their TikToks and I'll include them in this video.
As this style, this bag? Of course you do. For the past more than 30 years, we have been the OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, you name it. But for this, I am not proud because we were only making our wages. The profit margin for the people who are actually making the bags are very low. Now, as the USA and its little European brothers are trying to refuse Chinese goods, don't you think luxury brands are not trying to move their OEM out of China? Yes, they did, but they failed. Because the OEM factories out of China, they don't have good quality control and they don't have as good craftsmanship. Their workers are either too expensive or too lazy. 3, they don't have any supply chain. They always have trouble getting leather or zippers or any accessories. That is why they fail. Some say as long as there's a tag saying made in China, the bag can never be luxury. However, in fact, more than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China. But those luxury brands just won't acknowledge that. They take almost finished bags from China factories back to their own factories and just do the repackaging and logo installing, something like that. That way, the bags will appear at their boutiques as made in Italy or made in France. You know, those sophisticated European countries, which make you feel mysterious, royal, and thus luxury. See? In this market, you can find whatever kinds of leathers, skins you need. Now you understand why China has been the factory for more than 80% of the luxury leather products in the world, right? This one is for BV. You recognize that? This is Epsom for Hermes. You remember Kelly and Mini Kelly? Use this leather. This is EPI leather for Louis Vuitton. Evercolor for Hermes Mini 2424. See, this is the famous nubuck leather for Louis Vuitton. This is a very delicate leather because it is crafted entirely by buffing to create velvet-like texture, feeling. Anything you want, whatever you want.
Who is the Chinese supplier behind Cartier? Shuibei International Jewelry Trading Center in Shenzhen City. This bracelet costs like $44,000 on the official website, but only costs $6,000 in Shuibei. Shuibei is the largest professional jewelry trading market in China. Almost 60% of jewelry in China comes from here. Many international brands also purchase from here.
Who are the suppliers behind Lululemon? Some of their yoga wears are actually from Xianglong Clothing and Huangqisheng Clothing. And guess what? Both factories located in Yiwu here. And these two factories also supply clothing for Fila and Under Armour. I guess most of you know the price of Lululemon or other big brands. They sell you a legging pants for $100. And guess what? Here in these two factories, you can get them for around $5 to $6. Crazy. And what's even better? The material and the craftsmanship are basically the same because they all come the same production line.
Your made in Italy Gucci 80% come from Chinese factory. They just add the logo in Europe to make you pay the price of 10 times. Close your eyes. If your Hermes says made in China, does it feel cheaper? No, that's not quality issue. It's luxury brand washing. Fun fact, the hand stitching your Prada, 42% are Chinese artisans. We don't do cheap, we do underrated luxury. Why pay 2,000 Europe for Parisian air? Same leather, same craft, just without the European fairy tale facts. Be a luxury rebel, you can shop on Chinese platforms such as Taobao, 1688, Tianmao, Jingdong. You can even go directly to Guangzhou, Yiwu, Quanzhou, Wenzhou to buy.
Louis Vuitton t-shirt and Uniqlo t-shirt are basically the same because they are produced by the same production line. Spilling the tea on Louis Vuitton's Chinese supplier. Years ago, I was helping this Sweden guy sell t-shirts in China. He was looking for a supplier. I went to the factory for him to inspect the t-shirt and also get some samples. When I was talking to the owner of the factory, he said he also does Louis Vuitton. He also does Uniqlo, and I'm talking about men's t-shirt. So in terms of craftsmanship, Louis Vuitton t-shirt and Uniqlo t-shirt are basically the same because they are produced by the same production line. But Louis Vuitton would pay so much more for one t-shirt than Uniqlo because they are only ordering a very small quantity. Also, they will provide all the materials for the t-shirt, including fabric and threads, obviously the labels, etc. In a production facility, sometimes you make mistakes and there are products that doesn't meet the quality requirement. Legally, they're required to destroy them, but the owner of the factory told me that sometimes he will keep one or two for himself. They also have to sign contracts to prevent them from leaking the design, or they will have to pay a huge fine. So if you're interested in finding luxury designer supplier, I would say there's no point because you won't get the same thing. Aim for high quality mid-range brand suppliers. They will give you really good products.
None of it's true.
None of it's true. None of it's true. It's BS. They made it up. They lie.
Prada's Chinese supplier. All this information are also in my latest blog, so go to my website. So Prada has quite a few suppliers for their handbags, although they don't have any handbags that would say made in China. But let me tell you how to tell if it's made in China. So the factories and suppliers in China, they have a code. For Shidai, they produce two codes that's attached to their handbags. One is 165, one is 175. So 175 will be Prada's main product line, and 165 will be like less featured, less important handbags. If you want to see the tags, it's usually in the zipper component in your bag. So if it's made by Shidai factory in China, it will have 175 on the tag, but Shidai does not make any Saffiano leather handbags. If you found a Saffiano leather handbag that has 175 on the fabric tag, it's probably a fake bag. Li Tai is another company that makes Prada's handbag, and their code is 164. This factory also makes handbag for Burberry, but apparently they were forced to move their production in Southeast Asia now, so they don't actually have a factory inside of China. Huixiong is another factory. Their code is 224. They mainly make wallets, and with wallets, the code is usually hot stamped. So take a look at your Prada bags and see if they're...
The bags come from China, but the leather comes from Nigeria. The bags are manufactured in China, but the leather, the exotic skins, the snake skin, the alligator, it comes from Kano, Nigeria. Come on in, let's talk about it. Yes, because I love that the Chinese manufacturers are coming on here and asserting that they are producing these luxury bags and luxury goods, but also Black people have a hand in that manufacturing by way of tanneries in Kano, Nigeria. Products like skins, leather, suede, alligator skins, snake skins, all kinds of exotic skins into textiles so that they can be used for goods, clothing, bags. And Kano, Nigeria is headquarters, world headquarters for this practice, Winston Leathers. And they are actually a third generation tannery. So he confirmed that his tannery produces leather goods and exotic skins for brands like LVMH, so Louis Vuitton's portfolio of brands, Ralph Lauren, many other luxury brands. Sorry, I'm getting ready. I'm gonna put my brush down to talk about some bags that I love by Black designers. So this beauty is Antelope. This is by a brand called Brother Valet. A Black woman named Aurora James leads that brand. Talk about Hanifa. I can't get enough of Hanifa. I love Hanifa Muvemba as a person. And she is also a Black designer from the continent of Africa. She is from Congo and she produces bags. This is a great bag. It comes in a larger size. It also comes in black, I believe. We gotta talk about Loire. So Loire is headed by Raul Lopez. He is a person of color.
All the influencers I follow, especially on YouTube, that talk about luxury brands have been real quiet about this topic as well. I understand, as somebody that loves and adores luxury brands, it's probably such a hard thing to believe in, especially when you spend thousands upon thousands on these products only to find out they were actually made in China. Not only everything is being produced in China, but the leathers are actually being exported from Africa. Nothing is being made in Europe like it's claimed to be, other than the last stage of the production, which is crazy. We're paying thousands. So I can only understand them that they're being very quiet. I think it's very difficult to process how much money you have spent on these luxury items only to find out there's no exclusivity, nothing is actually being made by artisans or whatsoever as it claimed to be. Remember the Dior scandal? The Dior workshop that went viral? Well, we're having the same case on a bigger scale. Also, I don't know if you have seen the Van Cleef gold bracelet being tarnished. That's another video of its own. Also, my own experience with Prada bag and overall service that I have received. More or less, after all these controversies, I am convinced that all these big brands are gonna get a big hit. People will stop buying. I will stop buying. I don't want to waste another penny on buying luxury items that's coming from China. Only way they can reconvince me is to actually properly post and show full from beginning till the end production of their items. Only then will I be convinced that what China is claiming is not true. Until then, I'm on China's side because so far luxury brands have been really quiet. It did used to cross my mind before that cheaper luxury items such as stainless steel bracelet, necklaces, and jewelry in general are actually being made in China or more lower cost saving countries, but I didn't think to the scale of this much. We are not only talking about cheap jewelry, but expensive jewelries are also being made in China. When I say expensive, we're not talking about jewelry that costs $300, $400 that are stainless steel. We're talking about jewelry that costs thousands. They're also being made in China, or at least China is claiming that they are. With all of this coming to light and most of the consumers claiming that people that were buying from luxury brands are basically naive, it's nicely stated, to think that everything were produced in Italy or France or the countries that the item is stated in. I think for people that have a big collection or even just bought one item from a brand and spend their life savings to get this one bag to be able to use for the rest of their lives, it's really painful as somebody that purchases and uses your hard-earned money to buy something exclusive and find out it's being produced in the same place that all the knockoffs are being produced as well. It's just a very difficult pill to swallow. And if you are affected by this, it's okay, you're not at fault. I have also purchased luxury goods, but at the end of the day, we did not know. But now that we do, it's our duty to now know better. I think from now on, if I want to buy a new bag, I would rather buy from a smaller artisan or from a smaller store or a local brand. That way I know for a fact that my money is going to people that are actually putting effort to produce something than big corporations that benefit so much off of something that they use cheap labor for, like China, and also getting their leather and everything else from Africa, and only to claim that it is basically being produced in their country. It's such a white thing to do. As well as some of you might remember, I did a review of YSL knockoff to original and it was 95% same. 95% of it was identical, but my video got taken down by YouTube saying that I'm promoting counterfeit items, only to find out the original items are being produced in the same place as the counterfeit ones. Having said that, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any other questions, leave it in the comment section below. Please do consider subscribing to me and I hope to see you in my next video.